Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Warmer temperatures and at least a couple of chances of rain this week. Why the developing pattern still shows signs of limited rainfall for some of us.
It's the disturbing viral video of the fight between two Hazelwood East students.
It was horrifying.
Tonight, teen violence and criminal justice experts weigh in on the gravity of this case. Our top story, 2 Metro riders are dead. Tonight, the search for the person who fired shots into a bus.
The Major K Squad is now leading the investigation. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The shooting happened around 2:30 this afternoon along Airport Road, about a mile from the Berkeley Police Station. Robert Townsend was on the scene earlier today and talked with investigators. Robert.
Mike, tonight police are still looking for the shooter and trying to figure out exactly why the person opened fire on a bus carrying passengers. In mid-afternoon, police say witnesses told them someone outside fired bullets through the front windshield of this Metro bus in Berkeley. Investigators say the gunman then got on the bus, fired more shots, and immediately took off. Police say 2 riders suffered gunshot wounds. Paramedics rushed both men to a hospital where they later died.
I'm just at a loss for words right now.
I could have been on that bus. It's senseless. And we have to do better as a community.
The gunfire rang out on the 61 Chambers route bus at a westbound bus stop on Airport Road. It was near a now closed Airport Elementary School, just blocks away from Berkeley City Hall and a fire station. Kim Parks lives nearby.
This has been a pretty quiet neighborhood. Random gunfire, very random, but overall it's pretty quiet.
Investigators say several people were on the bus at the time of the double shooting. Nobody else was hurt. In a statement, Kevin Scott, the general manager of security for Bi-State Development, said this brazen act is yet another example of the violent crime crisis we are seeing in our region.
They need to stop the violence. We are trying to live a normal life, and the community is going down over nothing senseless.
The Major K Squad will not release the victims' names until after detectives have contacted their families. Detectives are right now reviewing video taken from that bus, hoping it will lead them to the gunman. If you know anything about this crime, call Crime Stoppers.
Robert, thanks. Tragedy tonight in Western Illinois. 5 people are dead, including 3 young children, after a fiery crash involving a school bus and a semi-truck. The crash happened on Route 24 around 11:30 this morning in the town of Rushville. That's in Schuyler County, about 2.5 hours north of St. Louis. According to Illinois State Police, the school bus veered into the path of the semi. Both the truck driver and bus driver were killed, along with a 5-year-old girl and 2 3-year-old boys on board the bus. All 3 were students with Schuyler Industry Schools.
Schuyler County is a small county, small community, Rushville, Illinois. It's a close-knit family, and when you have loss of lives like this, it's devastating. It's quite a tragedy, and our prayers go out to the families.
The crash remains under investigation. Schuyler Industry Schools has canceled school for the next 2 days, but is making counselors available to students and staff.
Tonight, a Hazelwood East High School student remains in critical condition, and a 15-year-old girl is in juvenile custody after a disturbing fight near campus. Video of that attack from Friday afternoon has gone viral on social media. New tonight, Annie Krall spoke with criminal justice and teen violence experts about what comes next, Annie.
That 15-year-old suspect is currently being held by St. Louis County Family Court on assault charges, but experts tell me that could change.
A video shared and watched thousands of times of the fight on Friday next to Hazelwood East High School, a student's head smashing into the pavement repeatedly. We will not show the full video due to how graphic it is. Tina Meyer's 13-year-old daughter died by suicide after excessive bullying in 2006, gaining national attention. Now Meyer is teaching teenagers how to de-escalate their differences without violence. Watching the viral Hazelwood cell phone video,
It was horrifying. Watching all of those kids standing around.
the victim and suspect's names haven't been released because they're both minors. That's a requirement by state law. Director of Criminology and Criminal Justice at SLU, Dr. Diane McGuire says.
How does it become the case where they do get bumped up from the juvenile court and they end up being treated almost as an adult?
So with very serious offenses, the statute provides for sort of an automatic hearing to see if this child is an appropriate subject of juvenile court jurisdiction or not.
St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell saying on social media, quote, "It's a juvenile court matter unless it is certified. The certification decision is up to the juvenile court officials. A hearing date hasn't been announced." McGuire says if the victim were to die, the suspect could be facing first or second degree murder charges.
When you put something out on social media and it goes viral, and it's as horrific as this was, and now you're going to get the aftermath of where people are going to be saying things and the social media is going to continue. It's on TMZ.
Missouri Attorney General posted on social media saying the suspect should be tried as an adult. Tina Meyer travels across the country teaching teens how to speak to adults they trust about their anger so it doesn't reach a boiling point, educating them as early as 5th grade.
Thank you, Annie. Tonight, a desperate search in Nashville, Tennessee for a missing Mizzou student. 22-year-old Riley Strain was last seen Friday night around 10 o'clock after he was kicked out of Luke Bryan's bar. He was there with a group of fraternity brothers. They called police after his Snapchat location disappeared and his calls went straight to voicemail. Riley's parents traveled from their home in Springfield, Missouri to Nashville to look for their son. His father says time is of the essence.
You're just hanging by a thread, waiting for any kind of information from anybody, whether it be the police or somebody giving a tip or whatnot. But it's horrible. It's a parent's worst nightmare.
The university is offering support to Riley's family along with counseling for students, faculty, and staff.
Breaking tonight, a nearly 2-week strike is over for 40 workers at the Gray Bar plant in Hazelwood. Just hours ago, members of the Teamsters have ratified a new contract. The 4-year deal includes an 18% hourly wage increase, a reduction in forced overtime, a $1,500 ratification bonus for members, and workplace safety commitments.
Teachers in the University School District are getting a big raise. Tonight we learned both teachers and teachers unions ratified a new 2-year contract. They'll get a 6% raise on July 1st, followed by a 5% raise in July of 2025. The move comes 1 week after teachers in St. Louis Public Schools were given a 17% raise over their new 3-year deal.
Tonight, an end of an era in higher education in St. Louis. After more than 100 years, Fontbonne University will be closing its doors in the summer of 2025. The tough decision was made after years of declining enrollment and financial hardships.
Laura Barcheski is live on the Clayton campus tonight. She talked with university officials and students about this heartbreaking news, Laura.
Mike and Kelly, this closure announcement has everyone really concerned here at Fontbonne University. And while they've made a lot of arrangements for some students to finish their degrees, there is still a lot up in the air. On a warm, early spring afternoon, the Fontbonne University campus is unusually quiet. Classes were canceled on Monday as the school community grapples with life-changing news. Undergraduate student Alina Dunder says while she'll graduate this May, she found out she can't return to Fontbonne for her master's.
It does feel very empty that I can't come back, and I think a lot of places and a lot of students really want to come back to what they choose as their home.
And in a little more than a year's time, the campus will be entirely empty, closing its doors for good after serving St. Louis students for more than 100 years.
With more than a decade of declining enrollments and budget shortfalls, a small endowment, and no way to balance the budget in the foreseeable future, closing the university was the only responsible choice.
Over the weekend, University President Dr. Nancy Blattner says they finalized an agreement to sell the 16-acre property to nearby Washington University, which in return will help keep them open through summer of 2025, allowing some students to graduate and others to be placed in programs at other universities through what they call teach-out agreements.
They will take all of their credits toward their degree. They will generally agree that the cost of attendance would be the same as what it would have been here, so there are no additional out-of-pocket expenses. And that's something that we want to provide for our students because it helps to safeguard them and make that dream a reality.
Fine arts graduate student MV Laughlin says because her program was already on the chopping block months ago, she wasn't shocked, but isn't exactly sure what's next for her.
I want to make sure the quality of my education's not being compromised in any way, and I understand the administration's doing everything they can to mitigate the damages, but there's still going to be damages.
The university president says all staff will receive severance packages and faculty will be guaranteed a years-long contract to allow them time to find new jobs. Reporting live in Clayton, Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
It's been a year. So what are we doing? We've done nothing to stop someone else. You can either make excuses or you can take action.
That was the direct message the parents of Janae Edmondson has to city leaders just one day after a St. Louis jury convicted the driver who caused the devastating downtown crash that led the Tennessee teen to lose her legs. They want to see swift action to improve safety on city streets. Just weeks after that crash, Mayor Tashara Jones announced her $40 million Safer Streets plan. But planning and implementation is taking time. One alderman in South City showed us how concrete barriers and so-called suicide lanes are working to deter reckless driving until medians can be installed.
This was something that was a relatively easy fix, and so far the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Aside from the aesthetics of it, people don't like the way it looks trashy. I agree with that.
Plans to bring red light and speed cameras back to St. Louis also in the works, and the police department says it has stepped up enforcement at some high visibility intersections.
Tonight, Missouri Congresswomen Ann Wagner and Cori Bush, along with Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer, are calling on House Speaker Mike Johnson to include the Radiation Exposure Compensation Reauthorization Act in the 2024 appropriations bill. The proposed legislation would help local victims exposed to radiation by the federal government. The Senate passed a bill pushed by Senator Josh Hawley last week. Right now, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is testing underneath homes for possible contamination from radioactive waste. This sampling is being done in the basements of homes in the Cades Cove subdivision in Florissant. Those homes were built on top of a tributary to Coldwater Creek, which was contaminated by radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project. The project could possibly take 1 year from beginning to end.
A child care crisis in Missouri.
These kids are like my kids. And to think that they would have to be on the street because the state can't keep up with their contracts.
A local daycare on the brink. Tonight, the I-Team uncovers it's part of a wider problem.
This is unacceptable.
And the efforts to hold state bureaucrats accountable.
Midweek warmth, and this West Coast system, it evolves into a potential rainmaker for at least some of us. We're tracking any rain chances for the rest of the week in 7 minutes.